Point at me when we're live. All right, we are live without a delay, right? All right, we are going to talk today. I'm excited. This is a fun live for you. Got a lot of cool things I want to talk about with you. Let me quickly go over the agenda for this live. If you're just joining me, let me know where you're from in the chat box. If you're watching the live or the recording, interact as much as possible. I really, really do appreciate it. And I appreciate every single one of you out there. I really, really do. Having you guys and gals follow and interact is really awesome, and it's fun, and I feel like I can help a lot of you. So thank you very much. But I digress. Make sure you're interacting, whether you're watching live or the recording. Give this video a like and let me know where you're from in the chat box. So I'm going to introduce myself here momentarily. I'm going to give you my quick thoughts on the market. I'm going to do a free giveaway. Then I'm going to talk about 3 formulas that you need to understand. They're all simple. You need to understand these 3 formulas if you want to be a good real estate investor. All super, super simple formulas, nothing complex about them. I'm going to explain them and kind of break them down. So by the end of this video, you'll have a better grasp of these 3 simple formulas and you'll be a better real estate investor. Simple as that. We good? Yep. All right, and then we're going to do a little bit of Q&A. So that is what this live is going to be about. If you're on TikTok and Instagram, double tap the screen. YouTube, a like goes a long way. A like goes a long, long way. I would appreciate that. It helps. It seems like every single like gets another 10 views. So the more likes, the better for YouTube. I would appreciate that. And follow my TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, all at Same Faster Freedom. So let me introduce myself. Market Talk free giveaway, 3 formulas. We're going to rock it. Yep, we can. Is that a little bit better like that? Other way, other way, other way, other way, other way. All right, okay. So, all right, here we go. Let's get this angle of the dangle. All right, there you go. All right, here we go. So my name is Sam. I'm a real estate investor. I own a house buying company that is going to wholesale and flip 300 houses this year in the St. Louis market. I also own a $40 million rental portfolio that I've bought without using any of my own money. I'm going live here now to help you understand how I did that so you can do it better. You can be further along than I am after 7 or 8 years of doing this. That is my goal. My goal is to help you learn from my mistakes and double down on my wins and just be a better investor for free from following me on all the platforms and being a part of these lives. So that is my goal. That's why I'm up here, because I do understand how to do this. I appreciate you for being here. I'm not one of those people that wrote a book or is like trying to do clickbait stuff. I know real estate, I've done it, I'm doing it, and I'm going to continue to do it. And if you follow me on any of the social medias and follow these type of videos, you will be a better investor, I can guarantee it. All right, so that's a little bit about me, why I'm up here spewing to you. Make sure to follow my podcast, by the way, Ordinary Guys, Extraordinary Wealth Podcast. If you listen to podcasts at all, even if you don't, I really think you'll like it. Ordinary Guys, Extraordinary Wealth. All right, market talk. Let's talk a little bit about the market. So the market is softening, it's shifting, it's moving around a little bit. If you're on TikTok and Instagram, I'm on YouTube. You all are fine there, but if you want to head to my YouTube at Same Faster Freedom, you're going to get a better experience. The camera's better, there's graphics. It's just a lot better if you want to head over to my YouTube. That's probably the best place to be, and I'm going to answer questions there. So give the video a like if you're on YouTube. Let's blow it up on YouTube. TikTok, Instagram, stay here if you want, but YouTube's probably the best experience. So head there if you want. Double tap that screen and give me a like on YouTube. I would really, really would appreciate it. All right. Sorry, my arms don't look very big today. Not that they ever do. All right. So the market is shifting, it's softening, but it is a very, 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 very strong market. I was looking at data today to get ready for my giveaway I'm going to tell you about. I was looking at some charts and some data, and we are still in a very, very strong market. It's not as strong as it was, but it's still strong. We are not in a free fall. We are not in a bubble. We are not in a crash. Sorry, I'm not Graham Stephan. Sorry, I'm not Meet Kevin. I'm not trying to sell you on negativity to get your views and clicks. I'm just telling you what's out there. If the market starts to crash, I'll tell you, it's just not crashing. I own $40 million in real estate and we flip 300 houses a year. I'm part of the top real estate investor mastermind in the country. I pay $3,000 a month to be part of the top real estate single family housing expert in the country. So I know real estate at a ground level more than probably anybody out there or anybody out there teaching it. And the market's not crashing. It's softening, it's plateauing, it's dipping in some markets. In most markets it's not dipping, but it is not crashing. I do not believe it's going to crash. The reason for that is supply is low, interest rates are still low. Oh my gosh, they're 5.18% or 5.5%. Historically, that's still extremely low. If you take a step back, 90% of the past 50 years, real estate interest rates have been higher than they are now. So 45-ish of the past 50 years, the interest rates were higher than they were now. Was the market crashing for the last 45 years? Has it been a 45-year crash? Have we been in a 45-year bear market? No. The market's not crashing. Interest rates are up a little bit, so it's softening. Jerome Powell with the Fed is trying to pump the brakes on the market, not run it into a freaking pole. He's trying to soften it, and that's what's happening. The market's not crashing. Sorry, me, Kevin. Sorry, Graham, Stephan. Anybody that wants to get your views by giving clickbait thumbnails and telling you that the world's ending because that's way cooler than everything's fine, it's not happening. Thoughts on the market. Free giveaway tonight. So this is Wednesday. So if you're watching this on YouTube after Wednesday night, sorry. Go to either the chat box below or DM me on Instagram, but investlikedusty.com tonight, 7 p.m. Central on September 7th, 7 p.m. Central, live training with my friend Dusty. He's going to tell you how he went from living in his parents' basement to becoming financially free and owning over $6 million in real estate. He's going to tell you exactly how he did that over the past few years. So Invest Like Dusty, 7 p.m. Central, the 7th of September tonight. If it's after that and you're watching the recording, sorry. I do them every couple months. All right. So that's the giveaway, or just DM me on Instagram. If you're watching this after that, just DM me on Instagram. I'll send you an additional different free training. Not that one, but a different one. All right, so there's 3 formulas that you need to know to be a successful real estate investor. I'm going to do a deep dive on them, but does anybody have any idea what these 3 formulas are? Any thoughts on what the free 7 p.m. Central? The market is not crashing slowly. Oh, look at you. Hold on real quick. Gerber baby. The market's not crashing slowly. The market is just slowing down, and then it's going to go right back up. It's not crashing. Crashing is a 10 to 15% dip. It's not doing that. So the market's just slowing down, it's correcting, and then it's going to go right back up. All right, so there's 3 main formulas that you need to know when you buy real estate. And they're all kind of, they work for anything, but for this purpose, we're going to talk about rental property. So the 1% rule is a pretty simple formula. The max allowable offer formula. And then the last one is the cash flow formula. Those are the, if you, and I'm going to break them down, don't worry, we're going to go into a lot of detail on them. But if you kind of start to understand these 3 formulas and you practice them and you put offers out and you practice them on fake properties and practice them on real properties, if you can understand these 3 formulas, you will be a very, very good, savvy, good real estate investor. Let me know where you're from in the chat box. If you haven't on YouTube, give this video a like. TikTok, Instagram. Stay here if you want, or head over to YouTube for a little bit better experience at Sam Faster Freedom on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram. I'm on 3 platforms right now. Best experience is going to be on YouTube at Sam Faster Freedom. All right, so these are the 3 formulas we're going to break down and kind of show you how they work so you can understand it better. So the 1% rule. Who on here knows what the 1% rule means? Number 1, 1% rule. That was on accident. 1% rule. So a lot of people, this is a quick way to analyze a rental property. This is a quick way to figure out if the property is going to cash flow. So that's what this means. This is a big cash flow formula, example, and then the actual cash flow formula we're going to go over in a minute, and then we're going to talk about the max allowable offer formula, which is a formula used to buy rentals or flips or wholesale. So we're going to start it out with kind of the cash flow part, and then we're going to get into how to buy properties, all right? So the 1% rule. So I'm going to talk about how most people look at the 1% rule, and then I'm going to talk about how I look at the 1% rule. And there's no right or wrong answer, but the way I look at the 1% rule is a little bit safer way to look at it. So if you have a property, this is how most people look at the 1% rule. If you have a property that is worth $200,000, you need to be getting at least $2K a month in rent. Get it? 2,000 is 1% of 200,000. All right? So that should mean that it should at least cash flow positively in most people's eyes, because a $200,000 property, most people are going to have a $150,000 mortgage. You got taxes, insurance. So without digging into all the expenses, if a property is worth $200,000 and you have $2,000 a month rent, it's worth pursuing further. I wouldn't just use this formula to make the purchase decision. You got to use the actual cash flow formula, and you got to use the max allowable offer formula. But just on the surface, if it meets this, then it's worth pursuing. Now, if you want to get a little bit more detailed and in depth of this, I do what you actually have in the property as opposed to what it's worth. Because if a property is worth $150,000, but you have a $100,000 mortgage on it, then sure, you're going to be fine at the 2% at you know, $2,000 a month. That's doubling the 2% rule. That's a 2% rule. That's crazy. So that's really, really good. So I guess the better way to put it, as I'm here on a live, is, you know, I'd like to take how much you actually have in the property, what your mortgage is going to be based off, that full amount, and making sure you're at least getting 1% of that. It's just a little more accurate way to look at it, because everybody can have a different amount in the property. So if a property, you know, let's say you have a property that, you know, you have 250K in, you want to get at least 2.5K a month in rent. 100,000, you want to get at least 1,000 in rent. Now this is your initial swipe through. You know, if this property is worth 250,000 and you're getting 1,800 a month rent, probably not going to be a good rental property. At least it's not going to cash flow. And then you should have all your properties cash flow. So that is a kind of fumbled up version of the 1% rule. Now let's talk about the cash flow formula, and assuming it meets the 1% rule or it's close even, then you want to figure out the cash flow formula. And I'll go over an example. So this is the second formula we're going to do, and then I got another formula, the max allowable offer formula, which if you're not interested in rentals, these first two formulas don't really matter to you, but if you want to wholesale, you need to know this stuff so your end buyers can buy things at the right amount. And then the last one's going to be for flipping, renting, or wholesaling. Double tap the screen on Tiki and IG if you don't mind, and give this video a like on YouTube. People are so stingy on their likes on YouTube. Yeah, what's up, YouTube? People are so stingy on their likes down here. Please, their cameras. I'm just there to see the top of my head. That was really bad. Sorry. The YouTube is down there, but the camera's there. YouTube, give this video a like if you don't mind, and if you think I'm an idiot, give this video a like. All right, so the cash flow. The cash flow formula is simple on the surface, but then it needs a little bit more broken down. So the simple cash flow formula is rent minus expenses equals cash flow. Very simple. You take your rent, you minus your expenses. You take your debits minus your credits, and that's how much you have cash flow at the end of every single month. Now, let's break down the actual what's in the rent and how to find it and what's in the expenses. So you got to take your rent, and then you got to subtract 6 different expenses to figure out your actual cash flow. Now, you get your rent by finding comparable houses for rent. If you are looking at the 1% rule is hit, or close to it, and you're looking at a house, and it's a 3-bed, 2-bath, 1,500 square foot ranch, and other houses in the area that are 3-bed, 2-bath, 1,500 square foot ranches, those are renting for $2,000. That's what you're usually going to rent for. That's how you got to find comparable houses for rent. And most areas you're going to easily be able to find some type of comparable house. So what the market is renting similar houses for is what your house is going to rent for. Does that make sense? Double tap, thumbs up, thumbs up. Does that make sense? What your house is going to rent for is what other similar houses on the market are renting for currently. So that's how you find your rent. Zillow, the rent's estimate is obviously not accurate, but you can go on Zillow and find the purple icon, which is houses that are actually for rent. Comparable, but you can't compare a 3-bed, 2-bath house to a 6-bed, 8-bath house. It's got to be similar houses, similar styles, similar conditions, similar size, and that's what yours will rent for. So it's super easy to do. MLS, Zillow, Realtor.com, you can all do it. Just find out what houses in the market are renting for. Then you minus or subtract out your main 6 expenses. The first one is your mortgage. And these are all numbers you're going to know before you buy. I'm going to show you how to find all of these out before you buy. The rent, you're going to know before you buy because you're running comparable analysis on what the market's doing. Your mortgage, you should know what you're going to buy the property for because you're analyzing and about how much it's going to need. So if you're buying that property for $150K and it needs $50,000 in repairs, you're going to have $200,000 in the property. So run your mortgage through a mortgage calculator on today's rates at $200,000 mortgage. So that's how you're going to know what the mortgage is going to be. So that's a known number. Then the next thing you're going to subtract out is your vacancy. Again, vacancy can be a known number. I take 5% of gross rent. So if it's going to be renting for $2,000, then I take 5% of that as my vacancy. So that is a known number as well. So what is that? $100. So I'm setting $100 a month aside every single month for when the property is not rented because it's not always rented. Give this video a like on YouTube if you did not know that. TikTok, Instagram, double tap, or just head over to YouTube for the better experience. Same, faster freedom. All right, so again, oh yeah, and I need to mention again, if you're watching this live, DM me on Instagram for my free training that's tonight at 7 p.m. Central. If you're watching this after the fact, just still DM me. I'll give you a different training. Either way, free trainings. All right, so vacancy is a known number, 5% of your rent. Then another expense, which there's a ton of them, is property, or there's 6 of them, is property management. Property management is 10% of your rent. Now, if you do it yourself, it's free, but you still want to calculate 10% because you might hire it out someday, and you don't want to go from positively cash flowing you managing it to hiring out management and having it negatively cash flow. You do not want negative cash flow. So 10% is a very safe number. Most places are a little bit less than that. So if you put 10% of your rent, so that would be $2,000 or $200, then that is a known number. Then another one is going to be insurance. You should know your insurance because you're going to deal with insurance brokers and you're going to get renter's insurance. Don't go to State Farm. They don't have anything for renter's insurance, but brokerage your will or talk to other investors. But you're going to know how much insurance because you're getting an insurance quote. Mr. and Mrs. Insurance Agent, here's my property, here's what it's worth, here's what it looks like. How much is insurance? Break it down monthly. That is a known number. So again, you're going to know after all of this, you're learning, aren't you? You're going to know after all of this if the property is going to cash flow or not. So those are your first 4 expenses. The next one is going to be your maintenance. Now, your tenant should take care of most of the things in your property, but there are going to be things that aren't their fault that happen. A gutter falls, something happens that needs to be replaced that's not their fault. That's what you need to account for. Most months you're going to spend 0 on maintenance, but then 1 month you're going to spend 400. The next 6 months you're going to spend 0. The next month you're going to spend 100. Then 3 months later, nothing. Then 4 months later, 5,000, or not 5,000, that'd be aggressive, like maybe 500. So there's just, you need to start to accrue for these expenses. And I do $150 a month for maintenance. So if you don't touch the property for 10 months, that's $1,500 you got sitting there in case something happens. So maintenance, that's a known number. Mortgage, property management, vacancy insurance, and then taxes. Real estate taxes. Again, this you can find from your county website, divide by 12. You can find it from Zillow, usually pretty accurate on what the real estate taxes are on a specific house. So you're going to know all these numbers. So take how much rent you can get, minus out all your expenses, and make sure you're cash flowing $200 to $400 a month. Now, you're not going to be exactly right, but if it met the 1% rule and it meets this cash flow percentage, then you know that you're at least going to cash flow. I'm going to talk about how to buy it at a discount here in a second. Then we're going to talk about some lead sources you can utilize for that. But you want to make sure it cash flows. So let's just go over simple numbers. It's probably not even going to work out, but let's say you're getting this $2,000 a month in rent. That mortgage is probably going to be minus, $750 maybe on that property, minus vacancy. What did I say? 5% of $2,000 is $100. Minus property management of 10%, so that's minus $200. Insurance on this thing will probably be $75. Can you get a calculator? Or no, you don't. It's all right. And then minus maintenance, again, is $150. And then minus taxes on something like this would probably be $200. No, probably $150 a month. So what is that? 300, 375, 575, 675, and then 675, and then 750 is like 1,400? Yeah, so 1,400. So your rent is $2,000 minus 1,400 is $600 a month cash flow. And again, those numbers aren't all accurate. I mean, they could be. I know plenty of people that get that. But therefore, it cash flows. It met the 1% rule. It meets the cash flow formula. You're golden. It's going to cash flow, all right? With me a little bit? Great. Now, the last part of it, and this is actually the first part, I kind of went in reverse order because sometimes reverse is better. We'll leave that one alone though. This is the max allowable offer formula. So the max allowable offer, this is the most you should offer on your properties. The formula is, don't worry, I'm going to break it down. ARV, and if any of this is like new to you or you're getting an aha moment, I do this stuff all the time, so make sure you're following me on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, all these places. Follow me, message me on Instagram for my free training this tonight or any free training in general, so make sure to message me. So ARV times 75% minus repairs / costs. So this is how you know how to buy a property, because you might be like, I think it's going to cash flow, but I need to make sure there's equity, because you need equity in your properties as well. You don't just want strictly cash flow. You need to make sure there's enough equity, or a bank won't even lend you the money. So ARV times 75% minus your repairs or your costs. So I'm going to talk about how to figure out each, and then we'll go into some examples. So your ARV is your after repair value. After, not before, after the house is repaired, and fixed up because you're buying a distressed property, what is your property worth? So that's the after repair value. People get that confused all the time. Double tap the screen. We're at 38,000 on TikTok. Let's get to 50,000. That was the goal. We're close. So you just double tap everybody. If all a couple hundred of you double tap for 10 seconds, we'll get there. All right. So after repair value, what the property's worth after it's fixed up, times 75%, which I'm not a guru, but that gives you 25% profit margin or equity, then minus your repairs, which is going to be if you're selling the property, you got to subtract out your realtor fees. If you're going to keep it as a rental, you don't. But your utility holding costs, your private money lender interest, your hard money lender interest if you have it, your actual physical repairs to your property, your closing costs, all of your costs associated with the purchase and then the sell or purchase and then the refinance are accounted for. That's why if you do this right, you'll never, ever, ever lose money on a deal, ever. And if you do this wrong, of course you will. You might not. But if you do this right and are conservative, you'll never lose money. That's why you got to practice this a lot. So let's go through an example. Let's say a house is worth, let's say a house is worth $300,000 once it's fixed up. You saw your house and it's a 3-bed, 2-bath, 1,500 square foot ranch, decent condition, and you looked in the area within a quarter of a mile. There's 5 houses that have sold recently. They've sold for $295, $310, $305, and $320, and then $310. So you're being conservative in your $300,000 ARV. So it's going to be worth $300,000 after it's fixed up. Those houses were all fixed up. Times 75%, which is, what is that, $225? And then minus your repairs, which is going to be your holding costs, your owning costs, everything you have in the property. Let's say that's 50 grand. Again, if it's 45, you should say 50. Always be conservative. This house is probably going to sell for 315, and it probably only needs 45 grand, but be conservative in case the market shifts, and you'll be just fine. So then minus your 50,000. So that means $175,000 is the max offer you should allow. Max allowable offer. The max offered allowed is 175 grand. Now, who on here, TikTok, Facebook, we don't got TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube, who on here thinks in their head, no one's going to sell you a house for $175,000 that's worth $300,000? Did you think that, Jay? Nobody's going to sell you a house for $175,000 that's worth $300,000. Did any of you think that, or were you paying attention? Be honest with me. If you say yes, you're not in trouble. Did you think no one's going to do that in today's market? That's okay if you thought that, but it's not. It's not a $300,000 house because it needs $50,000 in repairs. That's a lot of money. No one's going to buy a house that's a homeowner and put 50 grand into it. A, they don't have the money to put 20% down plus 50 grand cash. They don't have the resource. They don't have the knowledge. Nobody's going to repair. These are distressed properties. So it is not worth $300,000. It is worth $300,000 in the future after $50,000 is put into it. So there's not like a market value for this. So if you run this formula and you can get it for 175 or less, you're going to be safe because you're going to have 225 in it and it's going to be worth 300. That 75K in equity will allow you to refinance with the BRRRR method. It will allow you to sell it and make money, because it's all your own expenses are paid. So you'll profit 75 grand because you built in all your costs. So it's hard to buy properties at 175, even though they're not worth 300, but it's a way to be safe and to make it work. So that is that. All right. Hopefully you got some value out of this. Q&A. Let's get some Q&A. Let's get some Q&As. I got you on here. TikTok, Instagram. Feel free to ask your Q&As. YouTube, what do you got on here? Is it better to refinance through an LLC? Yes. My opinion is if you're on the refinance step of the BRRRR method, use an LLC because banks are going to want that. You're going to get a commercial loan anyway, and it protects you legally, and accounting is a lot easier. Make 1% of the house cost. Yep, that's the rent. Exactly. What other questions you got? Hey, Sam, I just joined EXP. Awesome. Yeah, if you're an agent or want to become an agent and you want an investor-friendly brokerage, then join my team. So just DM on Instagram. If you're an agent or want to become an agent, you can be a part of Hang Your License with me on EXP. And yeah, I mean, it's incredible. You can make thousands of dollars a month without doing anything with your downline. Any other questions on here? How do you find off-market deals? So how to find off-market deals. The best way to find off-market deals are to deal with wholesalers that are finding them for you. So rather than spending your own money in marketing, spend their money We're almost to 40,000. Let's at least get to 40,000 on Tiki. The best way is to find wholesalers. You find wholesalers by going to your local meetups and your local Facebook groups. Find people. There are people out there, they're called wholesalers. Their entire day is spent finding distressed properties and selling them to people. So they will do the marketing, they will do the negotiating. All you have to do is they're going to send you a text with a Google Doc or Dropbox of pictures, look at them, figure out if it's a decent deal, and then make an offer on it. Super simple. So find wholesalers. All right? All right. You're making this interesting and fun. Nice. I love it. What creative? Yes. I just bought my first duplex, fully rented. Wondering the best way to get my next one without 20% down. Justin, that's a great question. That's called the BRRRR method. DM me on Instagram for my training about it, but it is a great way to create wealth and buy rentals without using any of your own money. I'll briefly go over it. It's the BRRRR method. You can do this with single-family rentals, apartment complexes, self-storage facilities, duplexes, quadplexes, fourplexes, whatever plexes you want. My mind went to something that I can't say. But it's the buy, rehab, rent, refinance, and scale method. It is a method that you can use to buy anything without using any of your own money. You're basically borrowing money from a private lender, then taking out a loan from a bank to pay off that private lender, and then that loan from the bank you pay with the rent. So I'm not gonna go over right now, but super simple. I have thousands of hours of free content on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, all social medias, and I have hundreds of hours on specifically the BRRRR method. I just bought, whatever, what creative strategy you use to avoid having to come up with a down payment? I just talked about that. Do you have an LLC for your rentals and for your flips? Yes, they're separate, for sure. I'd never put 20% down. Using the BRRRR method for a single family home, do you recommend putting 20% down or buying using private lender? I recommend private lenders because I have enough money to put 20% down now, but I bought 52 houses this year. So let's do a quick math on that. I bought 52 houses this year. 52 houses, all right? 52 single family rentals. And I do all right for myself and my income, but nothing crazy, but 52 of them. Let's say they're worth on average 200,000. So what's 52 times 200,000? That's 10 million. Is that right? Is that right? 52 times 200,000 times 200,000 is 10 million, right? A little over 10 million. Yeah, so I bought $10 million worth of single family rental properties this year without using any of my own money. Now, had I put 20% down on them, I bought them at discount, so I bought them, I probably have 7 million in it, but let's not worry about that. So in order for me, if I was buying at market price, to put that, I would need $2 million. I've done pretty good for myself this year, but I have made $2 million of discretionary income just to put down on rental property. So you can scale by using private lenders. If you just want to buy one property and you're wealthy and you're rich and you make a lot of money, 20% down is fine. But if you want to scale and do a lot, using private lenders is the way to scale and is the way to do that. Mariana, you just retracted that. This is simple, but it's not easy. It all requires hard work, okay? All right, so appreciate you being here. I appreciate every single one of you on my YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. Thank you for being a part of this. Hopefully you're following me and getting good stuff. DM me on Instagram if you have a question or want my free trainings. No strings attached, looking to grow my brand to help you as much as I can. So we will talk soon. All right, here you go, bro.